Thank you, thank you, thank you. I was thinking about Valley Forge myself a little while ago, and then the good fellow from New Hampshire came up and talked about it. That, you know, the weather at Valley Forge was probably as bad as it is out here today, and they stayed, and they won eventually. So I want to congratulate all you folks who came through the weather. Stand up and give yourself a hand. Yes. Yes. I've been reading about political candidates this year, and I read about one, and they say he's quaint. They say he's quirky. They said he's quixotic. They like cues. What they didn't say is that he's quietly waking up the sleeping giant. We've heard a lot about the undeclared war, the war on terrorism. Now, I served in the military. I was a lieutenant in the old United States Marine Corps. I know a little bit about those kinds of things. And I know that you don't go to war against a tactic. Right? If you go to war against a tactic, after Pearl Harbor, we would have declared war on aviation. We didn't. We declared war on Japan. Germany declared war on us. We went to war. We won. I want to tell you a story about a U.S. Navy ship steaming along one night. Lights flashed ahead, signal, turn your ship 5 degrees to starboard. Well, the ship's captain was quite indignant about being told what to do, and he told his signal man, he says, you send back another message. And he said, your message is, you turn your ship 5 degrees to starboard. Well, that prompted an immediate response again. No, you turn your ship 5 degrees to starboard. Well, now the captain of this Navy vessel was really upset. And he told his man, he said, you send this message. I'm a captain of the United States naval vessel. You turn your ship to starboard. And the final message came back and said, I'm a seaman second class, and I'm aboard a lighthouse. You turn your ship 5 degrees to starboard. Now, the point, of course, is that the stripes on your sleeve or the initials after your name aren't nearly as important as the ground you stand on. If you have truth and can deliver facts, you're like the sailor at the lighthouse, who certainly had solid ground to stand on. What ground does our nation stand on? The Constitution. Officials of our nation's government swear an oath to the Constitution. Practically all of them immediately put it in the bottom drawer and go and do whatever they please. One of the great fallacies most claim is that Congress says that if they aren't prohibited from doing something in the Constitution, they can go ahead and do whatever they want. Not so. You know that. Not so. Our country didn't become the greatest place on earth because of what government did. The United States of America became the envy of the world because of what government was prohibited from doing. I expect that many in this audience, and maybe all of you, probably all of you, will agree with me that the most important sentence in the Constitution is the first sentence after the preamble. Article 1, Section 1, Sentence 1 says all legislative powers herein granted shall be vested in a Congress of the United States. All right? Now, I need some help. I need some help. I hope there's some algebra students here in the audience. Please help me out. If all lawmaking power is in the legislative branch, how much of it is in the judicial branch? Obviously, the word all still has some meaning with some Americans. A Supreme Court decision can't be the law of the land. It's the law of the case. And it binds the plaintiff and the defendant, period. Most decisions of the Supreme Court should be, it's not a federal matter, and forthwith send it back to the states and to the people themselves. How about the executive branch? Okay, algebra students, help me out again. Any lawmaking power in the executive branch? But don't we get executive orders, presidential decision, directives, signing statements from the White House, taking on the force of law? Another serious violation of this document. Very serious. Very serious. It's not the president's prerogative to make law. Now go back to my sentence. All legislative powers herein granted are vested in Congress. Herein granted, what does that mean? Here in the pages of this document. Right? Look how big it is. If it were written by government today, it'd be that high off the floor. Is foreign aid herein granted? No. Does the Constitution grant power for a Department of Education? No. How about a Department of Energy? No. How about health and medicine? How about a Department of Homeland Security? You know, I thought we had a Department of Homeland Security. I thought it was the Army, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard, and Marine Corps. Just imagine. Just imagine adherence to the first sentence, right? There wouldn't be any foreign aid. How can a country that's $9 trillion in debt give away money? And it's not their money, it's our money. If the Constitution's first sentence were in effect, no departments of education, housing, health, agriculture, homeland security, no commissions, bureaucratic monstrosities, and other meddlesome agencies that harass our people and eat out their substance, right? You know, that's an interesting phrase, harass our people and eat out their substance. That's an actual indictment of King George in the Declaration of Independence. History repeats. If you drop your guard, history repeats. I've often stated a conclusion about the Constitution that no liberal or neoconservative likes. It is that if the Constitution were fully and honestly enforced, as it exists today, the federal government would be 20% its size and 20% its cost. And I've been chided by some of my friends in the John Birch Society who say, no, the figure should be 10%. If the Constitution were honored, there would be no policing the planet. There would be no undeclared wars. There would be no Federal Reserve. There would be no federal funds.